Joe Burrow has officially been listed as out and is set to miss the remainder of the season. And now that the Bengals are coming off of a 34-20 loss to a divisional rival in the Baltimore Ravens after last night's Thursday night game, it's looking like the Bengals season is pretty much over. And from now on, you have to start looking at next season and see where the Bengals can go from here and what's next. So like I said, after a 34-20 loss last night in a game to where early on it was looking to be a pretty good game and going into the second half, but at the end of the second quarter, Joe Burrow, you could see after a touchdown pass, you could see he hurt his hand, and it looked like he couldn't grip the ball. He was having trouble, just holding on to the ball, and he couldn't physically throw the ball. So he went to the back, and from then on, when he came back out in the second half, it was pretty much over, because you could see that he just couldn't throw the ball, and that he wasn't putting on his helmet or anything. He had the headset on, he had the earbuds in, so it was pretty much over. And now that it was looking like it could potentially just be, maybe a hand injury, and we didn't know how much time he would miss. And now he's set to miss the remainder of the year. And if you're the Bengals, this is a devastating blow, because you started the season off 1-3 with a pretty tough schedule going forward, but you proceeded to go on a little win streak, get over 500, and even though you lost to the Ravens, you were still even though you lost to the Texans, you were still 5-4. You were still right there in your division, and with a couple of wins under your belt and going on another win streak like they've done in previous years, they could have been right back in it. But now that Joe Burrow is out and they've just lost this divisional game, they're 1-5 in the AFC conference, and they haven't won a single division game this year. It is not looking great, because this was supposed to be the final year to where, okay, we have all this talent on offense, we have everything in place, we just need to go on and capitalize on it. But with Joe Burrow dealing with a lot of injuries this year and being banged up, and now that he's set to miss the remainder of the season is pretty much over. And with Jake Browning coming in as a backup, he looked serviceable. He looked good enough to where he wasn't going to be horrible. But when you're missing arguably the second best quarterback in the league, it's going to be a severe, drop off, and you could pretty much assume that they're not going to be the same team without Joe Burrow. You're obviously not. And, for the Bengals, it's really just a matter of, okay, let's look into next season. Let's get Joe Burrow healthy for next season and see how we can, shore up this offensive line just a little bit more, because he still continues to take a lot of sacks and takes a lot of hits. But let's just, go into this offseason. Let's try to figure out the T. Higgins situation, see if, we're probably not going to be able to pay him. So let's see what we can do to, work around that and get some more pieces to bring in and, just figure everything out that they need to figure out. But overall, for the Bengals, this is pretty devastating, and this is one of the years to where you could assume that they would be one of the playoffs. This was going to be one of the teams that could go on a run and make the Super Bowl and potentially win the Super Bowl. And for the Bengals, just tough loss and really just a tough season overall. Just seeing how everything started going on 1-3, then you went on this win streak, and now that you were starting to look on the upside, you were going into that Texans game 5-3. Had the potential to go 6-3, tie up and be right there in the division and in the conference, but you haven't been able to. And now looking at the Ravens, although they've won this game 34-20, I liked what I saw from the offense and receivers. This offense continues to just show that they are a pretty good, if not great, offense. You can see the talent surrounding Lamar Jackson, and that this is something that is, repeatable. You start to see just how great their run game is, how great Lamar is as a passer, which he was already a good passer, but now that he has the talent to show and showcase just what his ability as a passer. But Mark Andrews did suffer a season-ending ankle injury, which he is most likely not going to return from, even if they, go into the playoffs and make a playoff run. So that is something that I am concerned about. But I would say just for the remainder of the regular season, I still think that the Ravens should be capable of, continuing to rack up wins, fight for that number one spot in the AFC with the Chiefs. They'll be right there in that 1 to 2 to 3 spot in the AFC. And I think overall the Ravens are just, they're set up pretty nice. But I will say that once we get into the playoffs, that's when the lack of Mark Andrews, lacking Mark Andrews, is going to come into play, and it's really going to start to show, because Mark Andrews, he's arguably, the second best tight end in the league behind Travis Kelce. He's been with Lamar ever since he came in and been starting as a quarterback for the Ravens, and he's been that security blanket, and he's been that sure catch, that sure receiver that Lamar has always had, even throughout the struggling receiving core throughout Lamar's tenure. And I think that certain players are going to have to step up. Obviously, Odell Beckham just had a great game, but he did come down with an injury, and I will say he's probably going to be okay. But that is a concern in the consistency of Odell, and if he can consistently have those games. And can Zay Flowers step up? I know Zay Flowers has been a great receiver for a rookie this year. He's been showing his speed, his agility, and his run after the catch ability. But it's going to really come down to, can he step up and take that next level and really, try to cover up for some of the slack with Mark Andrews missing the rest of the season. And another thing that I will keep an eye on, I wouldn't say I'm worried about, but for the Ravens, the one thing I will keep an eye on is that Lamar Jackson, he seems to be pretty banged up. I would say throughout most of that game, you could kind of see how he started to seem as if he was limping a little bit. He was kind of laboring on his foot or his ankle. And I expect Lamar to tough it out. He's a tough cat. He's going to, do what he has to do to show up every single night and every single week. But that is something I will probably be concerned about, because Lamar has been injured these last few years, at the end of the season. And you would hope that he would stay healthy and not get injured again throughout the same back half of the season, because there is a lot of games left. So you can only hope that he remains to stay healthy, and I hope that he, after this Thursday night game, they get a little 10-day stretch. Hopefully they'll be able to rest up and get some players back from injury, get some players back fully, and maybe not fully 100%, but rest up a little bit. So if you're the Ravens, there is after this win, you're pretty much cruising throughout the rest of the season, as long as you don't have a catastrophic injury, knock on wood, and as long as you just continue to showcase how great this defense is and just how electrifying this offense is with all the speed surrounding Lamar Jackson. That's it for this video. Let me know down below what you think about the Bengals, and with Joe Burrow missing the rest of the season, and what's coming with the Bengals. What's next for the Bengals? And also let me know down below, how far can the Ravens go if everybody stays healthy, even without Mark Andrews? Just how far can the Ravens go? Can they go on a big run? Are they not going to be able to make it out the first or second round? Just let me know down below what you think. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. This is Brown Sports Report. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.